Welcome to the Positive Sports Podcast. I will be your host this evening, Ed Montana. Alongside me today, for the first time in 2020. 2020. Welcome to 2020. My brother Alex. Alex, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man.
I missed you last week.
2020. I missed you too. Apparently, a lot happened since last week. I watched the podcast.
Yeah.
You had hair.
Yeah.
I come to the podcast today, and you don't have hair.
Is it all gone?
I'm kind of jealous because your hairline is not that bad, actually. It's back there, right. But it's running.
But it's running. The whole team is running away
at the same time.
But it's like it's like an offensive line on a screen pass, right? Yes. They're all going down the field.
Yeah, my right tackle and right guard are
they're gone.
They're gone.
They're at the sideline getting a drink of water.
This is terrible. This terrible. That good. Terrible, good. Good, terrible.
I know most people listen to podcasts.
You guys need to watch.
I hope they watch that. That's hilarious. Yeah, no, I just look, new decade, new me. I decided to just start over.
Me
Get
too.
rid of all the hair.
I'm going to the gym every day. I'm eating good. I stopped drinking.
I'm
lifting 300-pound dumbbells every day. That's my New Year's, man. I'm taking it by the horns.
You don't lift 300 pounds. Can you bench 300?
Curls, man. Curls. I curl 300 pounds, bro.
Yeah.
That's my New Year's.
You take a 10-pound weight and curl it 30 times.
New Year's, man. Don't I sound like the rest of probably 90% of people during New Year's?
Yeah.
At the beginning?
I haven't changed much. I mean, I have goals and some stuff that I'm trying to do a little differently. You know, I think I've said this before on the podcast, right? My birthday's at the end of June, so I tend to look at my life in 6-month increments. And so I look at my life at the end of December. I'm like, well, I got to change some shit. And I'm going to do this, that. And unfortunately, the hair was the first casualty.
Yeah, I just don't tell my resolutions. I just do them. If I'm going to do them, I'm going to do them. I don't feel like I need to tell people.
Now, do you wait till New Year's to do them? Because I actually started my resolutions before New Year's. Like, I figured out what some of my resolutions were, like the last week of December. I was like, well, I'm not going to wait until Wednesday. I'll start right now.
I agree 100%.
I'm gangster, bro.
You've gone 11 months. In those 11 months, you must have figured out, okay, this shit ain't working. I need to switch it up. Might as well start.
May as well do something different.
And if it took you 11 months, that's a little too long to begin with.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Anyway, so yeah, out of hair I am.
Now, why do people say 2019? Nobody says 2020. Everybody's saying 2020. Right? Why is that?
Well, because it's catchy, right?
It's catchy?
2020.
Yeah. 2020
Plus,
vision.
you had the TV show, right?
Oh, yeah.
2020.
2020 vision.
2020 vision.
2020 home run stolen base club.
What do you call it? One of my bosses started off a meeting on Thursday last week, which was January 2nd.
Okay.
Hope everyone has 2020 vision. Thanks, bro. That was kind of corny. You're the big cheese. The only reason people laugh is because you're their boss.
Everybody laughed.
Oh, everyone laughed. I was like, that was dumb. You know what? I was hoping, and I won't take credit for this, but you watch the New Year's shows. I was hoping someone would have Barbara Walters so that at midnight she could say, welcome. This is Barbara Walters. Welcome to 2020.
I'm surprised nobody thought of that.
Oh, I'm sure people did. I'm not the first one to come up with that idea. I'm not that smart.
The program director.
Barbara Walters had better things to do. She's out partying.
Is she still alive? I'm sorry. Is she?
I'm assuming she is.
Okay. I don't know. But whatever. It's okay. Well, listen. While we're on the whole 2020, 2019 decade talk, we didn't recap last week, but I would like to go over a few best of the last decade.
Oh, you want to do the whole decade?
Yeah, the whole decade. Yeah.
Okay.
Because we're entering a new decade.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
It's January 5th. People only remember the last decade.
6th.
Whatever. You get the point. It's one of those
counting
things.
Is not one of your New Year's resolutions.
No, I failed math in the 3rd grade. I keep telling you that. Damn it. All right,
what you got?
So only a few. We're going to go over them.
Okay.
The first one I got, best trick play of the last decade.
Ooh, trick play.
There's been many.
I'm sure.
But the two that stand out, to me.
Okay. Help
the
me out here, 'cause
Saints
I can't think of
onside kick against the Indianapolis Colts in the Super Bowl.
to start the second half.
To start the second half, right? Surprised the hell out of everybody.
Right. Do we know who was ahead at the time?
I can't go that far back.
Okay.
Only my hairline can, so I don't know.
I was just curious because that may have bearing on whether I think that's the best trick play ever.
Or more recently, the Philly special.
Oh wow.
Those two are. I mean, they both happened in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
those are pretty good trick plays, right? Because nobody expected.
Hey, what about the Music City Miracle?
I said last decade.
That was in the last decade. What about?
That was in '99, I think, right? Yeah, that was in.
Damn, I missed it by a little bit.
1 year, 11 years.
No, I missed it by. I missed it by a whole decade.
Okay, you're the accountant here. You're the numbers guy. You can't fail at this, all right?
It's I watched a lot of shows about X thing of the decade, right? It's hard to remember like the cutoff, right? The 2010 did it happen before or after? What about that quarterback sneak in the Ice Bowl?
Did that happen in the last decade?
I think it was like 1965.
The Ice Bowl. I just caught on to that.
All right, out of those two, I will pick. I think I'm going to go with the Philly special because of the upset nature of it all, right? No one was really giving Philly a chance. And I feel like even though the New Orleans play had an impact on the game, I feel like the Philly special just kind of killed. Like, when I saw the Philly special, I thought, oh shit, the Eagles are going to win. Right? Like, when I saw the onside kick, I didn't think the same thing about the Saints. So I'm going to go with the Philly special. I think that was the best trick play of the decade.
I'm trying to remember if that happened before or after Tom Brady's attempt. I can't remember.
I think it happened after.
I thought it happened after too. I mean,
and the other thing that's cool about the Philly special, which I can't believe I'm going to say all these nice things about Philly, but
better you than me.
We've got all these little sound bites of the conversation between Peterson and Foles, and let's do the Philly special. Right. So I think that kind of makes it a little bit better. The onside kick didn't have the same fanfare for whatever reason.
I mean, both were very good and creative. The onside kick it just caught everybody off guard. More importantly, the Colts.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, just coming out of it was a close game at the half. Mm-hmm. So to come out so ballsy and an onside kick that is not very successful. A trick play like that the Eagles ran can be a little more successful.
Likely to be successful. Yeah,
right.
I agree with you.
I mean, both are very good. But I got to go with the Saints onside kick.
And the other thing too, right, is the Colts won the coin toss, elected to defer.
That's right.
So that they could start the third quarter with the momentum, and the Saints just kind of took it away from them. So that's the big deal about that play. That's good. I like that one.
Like that one?
I still think that the Music City Miracle was better.
Yes, 2 decades ago.
2 decades ago. Well, when we do our best of the 2000s.
Oh yeah.
When we do our best of...
Wait, that didn't even happen in the 2000s.
When we do our best of 1900s and 2000s...
Oh, yeah.
It's
the best of centuries.
Right. When we go century for century. So when we do this podcast in the year 2100... Yes. I'm going to pick the...
You're going to pick that one?
I'm going to say, look, this century was good, but that century had the better... Anyway.
That should be interesting. All right. Next one I have is the greatest comeback of the last decade. Tiger Woods comes back to golf and wins the Masters in 2019. Long layoff, personal issues, a lot going on with him. Injuries, right?
Injuries, yeah. A lot of injuries.
Patriots come back down 28-3 in the Super Bowl against the Falcons. Super Bowl 51. Everyone remembers that comeback.
Yeah.
Or the Cleveland Cavaliers come back down 3-1 against the Warriors in the 2016 NBA Finals. That one included LeBron's come from behind block on Andre Iggy.
Yeah.
And then the very next play, Kyrie Irving
Is that the one where what's his face? J.R. Smith was smoking a blunt.
No. That might be the best fuck up of the century or lifetime.
Decade.
That will go down as the worst
The worst blunder.
That might have been a trick play. That could be a trick play nominee.
If they had won. The fact that they ended up
hey
losing,
guys, watch this trick. Yeah. I'm going to dribble out the clock.
In a tie game. No one can see this coming except for All right. You want to pick first and I pick last time? Or me pick? Or...
For me, it's the Cleveland Cavs coming back down 3-1. Just because we don't see it very often. How everything unraveled in the last few seconds. LeBron's dunk from behind. Block. Yeah, you know what I meant. Block from behind, and then just the way they won the game with Kyrie's last minute 3-pointer.
Yeah, that's good, but we have seen other 3-1 comebacks.
Yeah.
So to me, that's not the greatest comeback. I'm torn with Tiger Woods and the Patriots, because the Patriots comeback was the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history, right?
I don't know if we've ever seen a comeback like that in the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl, for sure we haven't. It's the largest deficit ever overcome in a Super Bowl game. But with Tiger Woods, like, how many people really thought he was going to win another major? Like, how many people doing their 2018 recap show said, if they had to bet a significant amount of money to them, Tiger Woods will win another major?
Right.
I don't know that a lot of people were saying that. Even though he was playing decent golf in 2018, I think a lot of people still didn't think he was going to win another major. However, the fact that it had happened last decade, but could have happened this decade, kind of takes a little bit of the shine off of it. So I think I'm going to go with the Patriots with the largest Super Bowl comeback. That game also had that ridiculous play with Edelman catching that ball on third down, keeping that drive alive, which, kind of reminds you of the David Tyree catch.
Right.
It just had that one moment, kind of like the Philly special too, where you're like, holy shit, they're going to come back, and they're going to be in this game. They're going to win this game. And those moments, I think, make those comebacks so much more special. And the fact that it's contained in one game makes it a little more special to me than the 3-1 or the Tiger Woods thing.
Yeah.
Just one.
All three are impressive.
They're all great moments in sports. This is what I love about the recap shows, right? It's like you get to relive that stuff and think about what was going on at the time and how exciting it is. And
I agree.
Preach on. What other categories you got?
Last one.
Okay.
I think this is a good one. I like this one. We're going to go with best farewell of the last decade.
Okay. We
got Derek Jeter, walk-off hit in his last game in a Yankees uniform.
Was it not a home run?
It was not a home run. It was a
game-winning hit.
It was a game-winning hit.
Okay.
RBI single to right field against the Orioles.
Right.
Or Kobe Bryant dropped 60 points in his last game in a Lakers uniform.
That's tough. And part of what makes it tough is they are two all-time greats in their sport, right? If it was, if it was just some regular guy or, call it like a second-tier star and it was his farewell, it'd be a little bit different, right? Like, it wouldn't be as impressive. But these are two of the all-time greats.
Huge names in two huge markets, right?
Look, I'm going to have to go with Jeter because Jeter didn't have to depend on anyone to do what he did, right? He just went up to the plate and took his normal at-bat, and like he did so many other times, all of a sudden he was thrust into a big situation, and the guy delivered. Whereas Kobe Bryant, he scored 60, he had to take all the shots, but, there's a little bit of massaging there that goes on by the teammates, making sure he gets the ball a little bit more maybe than usual.
Right.
He's a little more trigger happy than usual. He's like, hey, this is my last game. We're not making the playoffs. I don't give a fuck what you guys want to do. I'm chucking and ducking, So I'm going to go Jeter. And admittedly, I will admit this. I love Jeter more than I love Kobe. and I love baseball more than I love basketball. So I think I'm biased, but
You're biased.
I'm going to stick with Jeter.
You heard it here first, folks. Ed is biased.
Hey, I'm honest, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, Jeter in a Yankee uniform is just like iconic, and
Right.
I mean, the fans that got to witness that game. I mean, that's a lasting image that will be like forever. So it's pretty awesome. But Kobe dropping 60 points, you know, obviously Jeter only gets 4 at bats, right? 3 or 4 at bats. And, you know, Kobe gets to shoot the ball 40 times, right?
Kobe's got to make, but he's got to make 25
Right,
shots.
right. And he's like 36, 37 years old at this point, you know, coming off an Achilles
injury.
Right.
Not nearly as explosive as he used to be.
Right. So, I mean,
I agree.
You know, I saw both live as they happened. I don't know, just watching Kobe, you know, go through his moves and be so finesse at that stage of his life. Doing it in Los Angeles with all the banners hanging. I like, you know, I like
the other thing too, right? That was cool about the Kobe thing is, I mean, you could almost see his younger self, right, when he'd hit the fadeaway jumper or whatever. I mean, it was just, there were moments where you were like, does he really have to retire?
Yeah.
You know? Whereas the Jeter thing, it was just that one at bat. It was a very small sample size. Kobe's was more of an entire game endeavor.
Right.
Man, this is fun. I like this.
Those were pretty good, though.
Those are awesome. Hey, before we put a button on 2019, best team. Let's think about champions from 2019. So you had the Patriots winning the Super Bowl, the Nationals winning the World Series, the Raptors winning the NBA Finals, the St. Louis Blues winning the Stanley Cup.
Okay.
What are the championships that we have in 2019 that are worth mentioning? I don't talk about tennis and stuff like that. I feel bad, but I mean, those guys have 4 majors. Same thing with golf.
I can't
Those
really.
are the 4 major ones.
I can't really think of another. I'll throw this one in there. I think this was pretty big.
Okay.
If I can remember his name. Anthony Ruiz.
Oh yeah,
Beating
Joshua, right, to win the heavyweight.
That was pretty
boxing
major.
heavyweight.
What about UFC? I'm sure there was one in UFC.
Well, the big one in the UFC, I think, would be Amanda Nunes beating Chris Cyborg, who hadn't lost in like 10 years, and winning her second UFC belt simultaneously. So that's a big one. As far as champions go, I mean, obviously there's other champions that have won in the UFC as well, but to me that's the biggest one that I can think of.
I'm going to keep it within the 4 majors just because I follow...
The 4 majors?
Yeah, the 4 majors, right? Or 3.5. You know, hockey is like, you know, I can't follow the puck.
We don't have a lot of ice here.
No. Ice, baby.
Yeah, that's about as close as we get to ice.
Man, I'm gonna say the Toronto Raptors just because they went out the off season, they went and got Kawhi Leonard, and he brought that whole city and team together, and he delivered. But you know, the spotlight was on Kawhi Leonard, but that whole team, you know, and people are gonna say the Warriors were injured and all that, but you know, they went 7 games against the 76ers.
Yeah.
So.
And an amazing shot to win it.
Yeah. So, and I think the rest of the team just rallied behind Kawhi Leonard and they fed off of him. And that was really their one opportunity to
and they took it.
And they took it. You know, the Patriots have been there and they've won and, you know, but I just think the Raptors definitely...
The thing that makes the Raptors a tough choice to not pick, is you hear a lot in the NBA about how it takes time for new stars to gel together. You know, we kind of saw it with the Warriors, and they had superstars, and they had a hard time at first, and Kawhi just kind of walked in the door, and it just kind of happened. You know, they almost from day one. They were almost immediately the team to beat. I don't think they won the 1 seed, but they were a very serious threat for the NBA Finals pretty much from the jump.
Yeah.
And you don't see that very often. I think it's really a tribute to the coaching staff and to Kawhi Leonard because, there's been a lot of leaders that have walked into situations and haven't been able to make it work right away, right? I mean, LeBron is the greatest player of our time, the greatest player of this decade, right? Since we're talking decade, the greatest player of this decade. He walked into Miami and it didn't happen right away, right? So,
who's yours?
That's impressive. To me, it's St. Louis, the Blues. What people forget about the Blues were the worst team in the Western Conference in January. They had the worst record in the Western Conference. They made a coaching change. They made a couple of trade deadline deals, and they completely turned their season around.
That's a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah, they turned everything around. They got themselves into the playoffs. I think they were a 6 seed, not great. And then, Bennington was just, he may as well have been a freaking brick wall because they couldn't get anything past him. It's just amazing, and it's incredible in hockey. It happens pretty often. You get a hot goalie, and you can ride that sucker all the way to the Stanley Cup. It's amazing.
That's what
it's amazing. Like, in baseball, a hot pitcher, but you still need a couple more outings. But he got hot, and no one could get anything past him. And to me, that turnaround, it's just an incredible story. I think the Patriots don't win in my book because they win so much, right?
Right.
The Nationals, it just,
Yeah, the way
they kind of came back. They had a rough start.
Right.
They lost their superstar, had a rough start. But this, to me, I'll never forget when you said that back in June. and to me, it almost feels like the MLB schedule gods just helped them so much. You said it in June. Remember that? I remember this vividly. I remember you saying it in a podcast, saying, look out for the Nationals. They play, it was some ridiculous number. You said 21 of their next 24 games against crappy teams. And they used that run to really fuel them through the rest of the summer. So I guess in a way I kind of discount their... I don't discount it, but I feel like they kind of got a little lucky. So, and look, maybe the same thing happened for St. Louis. I don't know. But I guess that comment by you just kind of tarnished. I shouldn't say tarnished. That's great. Yeah, it kind of smells of lucky, right? And the Raptors, I can't discount the fact that the Warriors got injured like they did. They lost not one, but 2 superstars.
And three almost.
Yeah, and they lost their second superstar in a game that they were winning.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
tough.
But look, we talked about this earlier off camera, right? It takes luck to win championships. It takes a good team. It takes good coaching. It takes big game balls. But it also takes a little bit of luck. And the Raptors got it, right? And the Nationals got it. And maybe St. Louis got it. And the Patriots certainly got it a little bit. And,
At the end of the day, you still have to play the games.
Oh, no, absolutely. Right? I take no credit away from
any
of those.
No, but what I'm saying is, you can get lucky throughout, but, you got to play the games. And it's just I guess it's what makes sports, right?
Right.
And us fans so attracted to it is because you just never know.
Right, and that's why the saying goes, that's why they play the games. Because you never know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
The Super Bowl a couple years ago, the Eagles are going in there with a backup quarterback.
Right.
Oh, and the big bad New England, no problem. And look what happened, right? It happens. Not many people were giving the Raptors much of a chance against the Warriors, but it happens, right? St. Louis had no shot middle of the season.
It happened.
It happens. That's the beauty. The Patriots, obviously the Patriots deal, the comeback was further back, not in 19. I was gonna say you could say something about all 4 champions, but
yeah.
But even the
still.
Patriots, I'm sure they had some luck somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
Or referee call or whatever.
1 or 2 or 3
Maybe.
or
Who
4,
knows?
5, 6, 7,
10.
Let's get into
20.
this wild weekend.
That's what they should. They got to
Right?
stop calling it Wild Card Weekend. They got to start calling it Wild Weekend.
It was fucking crazy.
It was nuts.
All 4 games, all 4 were decided by 1 score, right? Less than 7 points.
Yes. All excellent games.
Yeah, great games. Great
2
games.
of them went into overtime.
2 went to overtime. 1 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday.
3 visiting teams won.
Which you've always said there's always 3 home teams and 1 road team.
Right.
On average. That's usually how it happens.
On average, the first 2 weeks of the playoffs, the wild card and the divisional weekend, 1 road team manages to sneak on through. We almost had all 4 visitors.
And it was backwards this weekend.
It's crazy.
So we could start with the very first game of the weekend.
What a game it was. You know, the first half was... The scoreline may have been a little surprising with the Bills up here in Houston. But let's face it, it wasn't. Because the Texans did, in one game, what I've been saying they've been doing all season long, right?
Yeah.
In the first half, they were the worst division winner I've ever seen.
Right.
And then in the second half, they were the best division winner I've ever seen. It was amazing. What a turnaround for them. The first half, the Bills defense did what the Bills defense does.
They were running the ball well.
Controlling the game. And then in the second half, Deshaun Watson ripped open his suit, showed his Superman-esque, and put that team on his back. What a performance.
Dabo Sweeney called this, is he the Michael Jordan of football?
Who?
Deshaun Watson.
He doesn't have any rings.
Doesn't have any rings? He's got one. He's got a college ring.
Let's ease back.
He's got... No, look, man. Deshaun Watson... he did what we've been seeing Lamar Jackson do all year. His patience down the stretch is incredible, man.
He is, when he gets a little more consistent, he's going to be in that conversation with Lamar Jackson and Pat Mahomes and Russell Wilson. I mean, he is something else, man.
Yeah.
He is something else.
Billy O'Brien saved his job, or Deshaun Watson saved his Billy O'Brien's job. So
we'll see for how long, because if they lay an egg this weekend, I think he may still go.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think this saved him, spared him another year at least.
And look, the other thing, we would be remiss if we did not talk about J.J. Watt, one of the true good guys in the NFL. That guy has busted his ass to get back on the field this season after surgery. 9 weeks out, he went out there, he played. He was not as good as a healthy J.J. Watt, but made a big impact play
for
on
one
defense.
play.
Made a big impact play that I think really turned the game around.
Right, because that's Deshaun Watson then ran in a touchdown after that, right?
Right after that, Deshaun Watson runs it in, and that place, they blew the roof off that place at that point. And that's when the game really got going.
Let's keep in mind, the Texans are down 16-0 in the third quarter. Like, they're getting shut down. Props to the Bills, because they have a really good team in place. I think their coach is good enough to possibly take him to the next level, but that all is going to depend on Josh Allen. He's the wild card on that team. He still needs to develop or mature at the at the quarterback level, to be able to take that next step or go into the next round. I mean, you got to be up 16-0. You got to control the ball.
You got to win that game.
Not turn over the ball.
Look, I think if you're a Bills fan, right, I think you got to be very encouraged. McDermott looks like the real deal as a coach. You know, he looks like he is on. Josh Allen, look, he showed what a second-year quarterback looks like. He took his bumps and bruises. He made some mistakes down the stretch that may have cost them. He's got some maturing and some growing to do. Yeah. I expect him to get better as time goes on. And if that's the case with McDermott, kind of pushing all the levers, I think the future is bright in Buffalo, especially with that defense. McDermott, I think, I was very impressed with what he did on Saturday. And so they didn't win, but man, the future is bright, especially when you think about the division they're in. Miami has a long way to go. The Jets have a long way to go, and the Patriots are regressing. So it may be time for a changing of the guard, and the Bills have done it the right way on defense with a great coach. Yeah. They've got a quarterback that they've got to massage into a true leader and grade A quarterback. But if he continues to develop, there's no telling how far the Bills can go. So, I it's agree. Good for that. Speaking of good coaching, we saw another masterful job of coaching in the second game on Saturday, where the Tennessee Titans started the road team victory parade by going to New England and really, just running over the Patriots. They didn't score a ton of points, but look, they controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and they ran the ball pretty much at will. Derrick Henry looked like Jim Brown.
I think the Patriots were scared to tackle him. He's a fucking big boy.
I'd be scared to tackle him.
And Derrick Henry, he led the league in rushing yards this season, but you need to go back like 2 seasons ago. He really started running the ball a lot better. Last year he got even better, and obviously this year leading the league in rushing yards. He's overlooked.
Yeah,
I think.
And I think Mike Vrabel did a fantastic job. You can tell that guy is from the Belichick tree because he's learned a few things along the way. Did you see the fourth quarter where he took like 6 penalties?
Yeah,
because he could.
I read about it. I didn't really.
Yeah, so it's a stupid rule, but if it works in your favor, why not do it, right? So for people wondering, he was 4th down with the clock running, right? Because they got tackled in bounds or whatever on a run play on 3rd down. The clock is running. They're right on the edge of a field goal, but it's too far. It'd be like a 58-yarder, right? So most NFL teams take a delay of game, give their punter a little 5-yard wiggle room so that he can kick it as hard as he wants as opposed to having to feather it. Well, Mike Vrabel, it was about 6.5 minutes left in the game. Mike Vrabel took that penalty. He's got the best punter in the league, which helps too, right? He took that penalty. Then they walk off the 5 yards, start the clock again. Took another penalty. They took 5 yards, start the clock. The Patriots jumped offside. He took those 5 yards back. The clock starts running. Right. He took another delay game penalty. And the clock, this whole time the clock is running. So he went from 6.5 minutes. By the time the Patriots got the ball, it's 4 minutes and 46 seconds left in the game. Which, look, I think Mike Vrabel would have taken penalties all the way back to his own goal line. But for the fact that once you commit a penalty inside of 5 minutes, the clock stops. So no need to keep doing that.
Damn.
But I didn't know that rule, and Belichick was...
He was hot, right?
He was hot. I seen him on the side,
yeah.
But at the end of the day, he's got nothing to do there but just take it.
And I mean, and the Patriots just... They don't have much on offense, and that's been their issue the whole freaking year. And
they don't have anything on offense.
And, and their defense, like I said, their defense didn't want to tackle Derrick Henry. Yeah. I mean, supposed to be the best defense in the league. Tackle the fucking guy.
Offensively, that team is this year was severely limited because they only had one receiver, which is Edelman. But Edelman's not a deep threat. So they put 2 on him inside, and they let the other guys run around wherever the hell they want because they know they're not going to catch the ball. They're not going to get open. They're not going to do anything. Those other guys suck, for lack of a better word. And you got Brady back there sitting like a dead duck. It's, And
credit to the Titans defense because they were pressuring that. They were getting after it.
Yeah. No, they look, all the credit to them for sure. And it's going to be interesting going forward because a team that can run the ball like that with a good defense.
Yeah, your quarterback only has to throw for 72 yards. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Tannehill is going to get paid this offseason. I don't know by who, but he's going to get paid.
Someone is going to be like, oh, he took his team to the second round of the playoffs. He must be good.
I mean, they're like 5-1 in their last 6 games. They've been playing. Think about this. They were not in the playoffs. A few weeks ago, and to come into the playoffs, right? And again, a team getting hot at the end, taking some momentum.
Well, and
nobody thought they would win in New England.
We talked about this
during
earlier.
The playoffs.
We talked about this earlier, right? Sometimes it takes a little luck.
But there was no luck.
Well, they got lucky in the sense that the way things shook out, the Texans had nothing to play for the last week of the season.
But they still had to win their game.
They rested everybody, and Tennessee had to win.
Oh, Tennessee played
the Texans,
right? But they still had to play,
right? But they didn't have to play against Deshaun Watson. There was no J.J. Watt. There was no DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, the Texans really rested everybody. That's a big plus for Tennessee.
Well,
it's again, it takes a lot to win a championship, and I'm not saying they're going to win the championship, but they got a little.
I understand. The Ravens didn't play their players, and Pittsburgh shit the bed. Otherwise, they would have been in the playoffs, right? So,
no, it takes 2 to tango. I'm not saying it was all luck, but like I said before.
So, is this the end of the dynasty of the Patriot dynasty? Because America loves this. I don't mind it either.
Look, I
sure hope it is.
It depends on what they do, right? If they re-sign Brady and they get him some help, then there's still a damn good football.
What's more likely? Well, I don't know. What's more likely, both stay or one of them goes?
I think Brady's gone.
You think he's gone?
Yeah, Brady has reworked his deal and taken less money and done all this stuff to be in New England, and I think his pride. He's not gonna want to get lowballed again. He's made all the sacrifices for the team, and now he wants to get paid, or at least a decent last contract. And 2, the Patriots are. We've talked about this before. The Patriots are emotionless when it comes to their players. The Patriots view it as a business, and the Patriots will pay him what he's worth today, not for everything he's done over the last 15 years. Whereas other franchises will not, right? They'll give him the big contract because he's Tom Brady. The Patriots will say, you're 42 years old, bro. You can't play this game much longer. You get a 1-year deal, and it's not going to be that big. So I think from both sides, it's not going to work out, and he's going to move on.
Man, hard to imagine.
Him in another uniform, right?
Both of them in a different uniform.
Both of who?
Bill Belichick.
Oh, Belichick's not going anywhere.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Someone was talking about this on the radio. Belichick wanted Jimmy G in New England, and Robert Kraft, and Tom Brady didn't want him in New England, right? Because that and he was breathing down his neck like he was going to be next in line, and Brady didn't want that. And obviously the judge in this case, Robert Kraft, chose to side with Tom Brady. I just think it's really interesting. What's about to happen with the Patriots. I really don't
imagine Belichick going anywhere.
I don't know. I think with all this talk that one of them or both, and Josh McDaniels, this really, the whole staff could, really break up. They have a special teams coordinator, Josh McDaniels, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady.
I'll tell you what.
that could end up, somewhere else. I think for all the talk that this and this may happen, they may say, fuck you, we're going to come back even better next season and let's do it one last time.
Let me tell you something. I'm going to go out on a limb right now. And it's probably not going to happen, so it's not going to matter. If the only move they make, if the only two moves they make is to re-sign Brady and let Belichick go and elevate Josh McDaniel, they're going to sink like the Titanic. Josh McDaniel is not an NFL head coach. He wasn't in Denver, and he's not an NFL coach now. He is an OC. And some guys just, that's their ceiling. That's his ceiling. He cannot run an entire organization. He cannot build an entire staff. He cannot manage the game. He can't do clock management. He can't do any of that shit. If anyone hands over the reins to Josh McDaniel, you've been warned. That's my opinion.
I don't know, man.
Right, it may be. You ready to move on to Sunday?
No, let's keep talking about the Patriots because the rest of the world's going to talk about them all week long.
No, they should stop talking about them today. I don't like it when they talk about like okay, yesterday or Saturday, yesterday, right? Because the game happened Saturday night.
Right.
I'm okay with everyone talking about Tennessee and the Patriots and then all the Patriots in their future. Maybe even today, right? Because you got a whole new group of people on TV. After today, Monday, do not talk about the Patriots anymore unless they make a move.
Think about it. If they would have won, people wouldn't be talking about them so much as they are now.
Yeah. They'd be talking about them less now than if they won. They'd be talking about them less. I think that's terrible.
I think it's, but I think it deserves a lot of talk because there's a lot that can happen with the best team of the last decade and beyond. You know what I mean? There's a lot of variables that can happen.
Right.
It's not wishful.
But we have an entire off season to talk about that. We have some incredible matchups to talk about this coming weekend. The following weekend will be conference championships. We will have two incredible matchups to talk about then. And then 2 weeks after that, we'll have a Super Bowl to talk about. And then we can talk about how teams are going to rebuild and move, blah, 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 blah.
I think it's interesting because Josh McDaniels is going to get interviews this week. It's just, I think it's awesome talk. I really do.
It's interesting. I would just rather it be after the season.
And then,
if Josh McDaniel goes somewhere, right? Like if he becomes the new head coach of the Giants, okay, we can talk about it. We can talk about him fitting in with the Giants.
But it's the Patriots, man. People are going to talk about the Patriots, the Cowboys, LeBron James, the Lakers. It's just that's what you get for being so good. You get talked about.
I want to talk about what's going on now.
All right, let's talk about it. There's a bowl game going on
Sunday. So let's move on to Sunday. Minnesota went down to New Orleans, and I kept hearing about Kirk Cousins and how he doesn't deliver in the big game.
He delivered.
I keep hearing about how the Saints are due because they got screwed on the call on the Minneapolis Miracle the year before and blah, blah, blah.
They got screwed again.
And none of it happened.
They got screwed.
I am so disappointed. I didn't have a dog in the fight in the playoffs, right? So I was rooting for the Saints. Not to mention that was my Super Bowl pick.
Damn.
What happened?
They lost.
But
in overtime. Look, the fucking Vikings came to play like some damn, berserks with swords and shields. And that defensive line was getting after Drew Brees. And they were blocking for Dalvin Cook. And they were buying time for Kirk Cousins. And they just made the plays. They made the fucking plays. And Sean Payton, in my mind, got a little cute at times. And,
he does that.
And it didn't work this time. The Saints have a very good team, but in this instance, and I don't say this much, the Vikings wanted it more. They came out to play and play a little smash mouth, get a little aggressive with Drew Brees, get up in his grill a little bit.
It really did seem like the Saints just never got it going on offense. As good as that team is offensively, they seem like they just could not get off the ground. They couldn't get going. And
the way the game started, Thielen fumbling on the very first play, you're thought, thinking, oh damn, here we go. But they only got a field goal out of that. The Saints did. So, the Saints played fucking great, man. And you can tell from the locker room when Kirk Cousins did the whole "you like that." You can tell from his teammates that they trust him. Like they buy into whatever he says in the huddle.
Kool-Aid he's selling.
Well, hey, it works, man. And sometimes I'm guessing for a professional athlete like Kirk Cousins, he hears all the talk that he doesn't perform well in prime time and all that good stuff. And I guess at some point, either you have it or not to overcome that and fucking show up and play. Yeah, and that's what they did. They played a great ball.
Yeah, hats off to the Vikings. I think they played an excellent football game. And hats off to Zimmer. Zimmer doesn't get a lot of credit as being a good coach, but that team is good. They're always ready to go, and they went into a tough place to play against a darn good football team, and really, like you said, smashed them up.
What makes the Vikings good is that they're built from the inside out, right? Offensive line, defensive line, and then everything else happens for them. And I think that's what makes a really good team, makes a good team in the playoffs really good.
I agree.
So watch out for the Vikings, I think.
Yeah, I think. Look, all four of the teams that won this week, I think will give people fits next week. Yeah. Now, the teams next week, of course. The home teams next week have had a week to heal up a little bit, which is extremely helpful. But none of these teams that won this week are going to be a walkover next week. I wouldn't be surprised if next weekend we see 4 games decided by 1 score or less.
I hope so. But we've seen a lot of defense this weekend. We might see 1 or 2 offensive.
That's true. The offense is really coming to play next week, right? Especially in the AFC.
And real quick. We'll touch it real quick. You can say something if you like. The rule is the rule, but the fucking Rudolph, the purple Rudolph, okay, he pushed off.
Yeah.
Okay? Look, we're gonna, it was an offensive pass interference.
Yeah.
He pushed off, his hand extended, the receiver, although he never turned around, he was still... Right?
He's away.
He's pushed back a little bit.
Space.
So it's probably not as harsh as other pass interferences were, but to me, there should have been a flag there. But whatever.
I agree with you. I don't think it would have changed the outcome because I think
probably not.
They
were still gonna be inside around the 15, right? Inside the 20. They were still gonna be inside the 20.
They all they needed was a field goal, right? Or was that the first possession?
That was the first possession.
Oh, okay. Well, but still, so it would have been first. It would have been first and goal from the
17.
Right.
Because it would have been a 15-yard.
Right. So, which is still doable, and they could still win the game. Look, and
I'm not making excuses for the Saints because I think they lost the game
earlier than that. Absolutely. Certainly the. You get away with more as an offensive player. I understand that, but the pass interference rules are. I've gotten to the point where I've stopped trying to figure it out.
Which, by the way, we can go into the Seahawks and the Eagles, and if you watch that game, the Seahawks tight end Hollister got called for an offensive pass interference, and it was nowhere near the same as Rudolph's. I mean, it wasn't even close, and they called pass interference on him. So
that guy had a horrible game. He got called for 3 false starts, the pass interference. I mean, that guy. Yeah, it's like the refs only had eyes for him.
Not his.
Who's number 48? That guy's gonna do something. I just know it.
Maybe because if it wasn't Jeff Hollister. No, that's Hostetler.
Hostetler was the Giants player. Right. So moving on to the next game. This was not surprising to me. But man, the Eagles, again, we've talked about this several times on this podcast alone. Sometimes it takes a little luck to make it through the football season and to make it to the Super Bowl. And the Eagles just haven't had any when it comes to injuries. I mean, I'm not making excuses, but I mean, really, they're playing with backups. And I mean, backups. And Carson Wentz, the one guy who's managed to stand upright all year long, goes down in the first quarter, 9 minutes into the game.
Right.
And, heck, even McCown was gimping around late in the third quarter, early in the fourth. Seattle deserves it. I don't know that a full-strength Eagles team might not have beat the Seahawks anyway, right? The Seahawks are a damn good football team. But you got to feel for the Eagles. And I don't want to make it sound like no credit should go to the Seahawks, but I just can't get over how many injuries the Eagles had during the season and then more during the game.
Right.
I can't say I'm surprised.
The Eagles look like the Yankees looked last season. With all the injuries that happened, like one after another, just that the Yankees injuries went 162 games. But I mean, it was pretty crazy how injured they were. Funny how this the same score that when they played during the season, 17-9.
Oh, really?
The Seahawks beat the Eagles, I think,
like
that. Week 11 or something, 17-9. Although the Seahawks won, I'll give them credit. They made the plays down the stretch, plain and simple. I mean, you're playing a professional football game. What's problematic is you only scored 17 points on a team that's banged up, whose secondaries ranks at the bottom of the league.
When healthy,
yeah. So that might be an issue for the Saints. For the Seahawks. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough go. I'll tell you what. And I'm not going to argue MVP. Lamar Jackson's the MVP. But man, oh man, if it's third and long and I gotta seal the game, who do I want? Do I want Russell Wilson? Do I want Lamar Jackson? I think I want Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
That guy, the bigger the problem, the better he is. It seems like he is. He's out and out the leader of that team, and he is just fantastic. I put nothing past him.
And it didn't hurt that Metcalf showed up to play too.
Yeah, if they are within one score of anyone, look out, because if they get the ball, I think I have all the faith in the world in Russell Wilson that he can do it. DK Metcalf, they mentioned during the broadcast yesterday, he was the 9th wide receiver taken.
Yeah.
In this past draft.
Second round, I think.
In the second round. He was a 64th pick overall.
Yeah.
I went through and looked at the other 8 receivers. Who the hell are they? Are they even on rosters?
Do you remember them?
No.
No way. That bad?
Oh, they're terrible. The guy Harry from the Patriots, who can't catch a cold, that guy got drafted before DK Metcalf.
They replayed it was all over Twitter when he gets the call from the GM or the owner of the Seahawks, and then they pass the phone to Pete Carroll. Pretty neat, man. He's pretty he was stoked up to be a Seahawk.
Yeah.
Way to come through on such an important game.
Yeah, he had a big game.
That's a big boy, man. I didn't think he was gonna. He had a pretty good season overall. It took him a while to get up to speed. I think probably learn the playbook and everything. And I didn't think. I thought because of his size, he wouldn't be this good. But he's pretty good.
Well, he's a problem. He's a problem.
He's pretty good.
I mean, he's half a foot taller than everybody else.
Yeah.
Yikes. And on that last play, he showed maturity, because I think most of the time they would have kept running, let the ball fall in, because I think he would have caught it on the go. Instead, he stopped,
he jumped right.
Made sure he was higher, reached it at the highest point over everybody else, secured the ball, came down, and, realized, I don't need a touchdown here. I need to make this catch. And that was what ended up sealing the game for the Seahawks. So, Next week, we've got the Texans at the Chiefs, the Titans at the Ravens, and then the Seahawks go to San Francisco?
No, the Seahawks go to
Green Bay.
The Vikings go to San Francisco.
The Vikings go to San Francisco. Now, in the first 2 weeks of the playoffs, generally, one road team wins.
Right.
So last week, we won't talk about last week. So this week, which road team would you bet would be the one road team to win this week?
The Vikings. The Vikings, after playing in the Superdome where it's so hard to play, Kirk Cousins has been so good. So he's had primetime games. He's got a playoff game that he just won. I think we can throw that out the window. I think the Vikings are a very complete team. They match up very well with the 49ers. I think it's very even. If we go, offensive line by offensive line, defensive line, I think they're very even. And because of that, I think the Vikings can squeak one out by 4.
I will also go in the NFC, but I'll go to the other game. I think the Seahawks... I think the Seahawks will get to the Packers. I know Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback, but I really think Russell Wilson is a great quarterback as well. And that team, I think, is progressing, and they are going to give the Packers fits, and the Packers will not have the defense to deal with the Seahawks. Whereas on the other side, I think the Niners defense will give the Vikings a hard time. And on the other side, please, God, do not mess up a Kansas City-Baltimore Conference Championship.
Seriously.
I mean, look, I'm impressed with what Tennessee did. I like the Texans. But I want to see Baltimore and Kansas City hook up for the AFC Championship game. So that's what I'm rooting for there, and I don't want any visiting team to get in the way of that.
Yeah, I don't think I want to see. I don't think the rest of the world wants to see anything but the Ravens and the Chiefs, right?
Yeah, the Ravens and the Chiefs, right? The two young quarterbacks who are so good.
So out of the Patriots, the Bills, the Eagles, and the Saints, which 4 of those teams don't make the playoffs next season?
Patriots, Bills, Saints, and Eagles.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles are still a good football team. I think the Saints are a good football team. I think the Bills are a good football team on the rise. Obviously, there are a lot of questions about what's going to happen in New England. That roster could look very different than it looks now. And even the roster that we had now, remember the Patriots were 8-0 at one point. They finished the season 4-4, actually 4-5 if you count the playoff game.
Right.
So, if I take the trend, the Patriots don't make the playoffs, which is kind of an incredible thing to say.
You know something we didn't mention, but it's also a certain possibility, is that Sean Payton and Drew Brees could very well not be in New Orleans either.
It's true. They could be done.
Right? Brees might retire.
Yeah.
And Sean Payton may say,
Yeah,
I doubt it, but
the difference there, though, especially in the case of Brees, they've got Teddy Bridgewater, they've got Taysom Hill, and they've got a shit ton of weapons, right?
Yeah.
Kamara,
Michael Thomas.
They've got weapons. It's not like the Patriots that have no weapons on offense. So if Brady leaves, it really falls apart.
Yeah.
So that's the only difference there.
Yeah.
But it's a good point. I'd be sad to see Brees retire. I would be sad to see Brady retire. I'd be sad to see Brees retire.
Imagine that it happens in the same offseason. Brady just says,
I would like to see. I'd like to see Brady. I'd like to see Brees win another championship before he retires, because I feel like he's not getting enough respect because he hasn't won 2. And Brady, I'd like to see him have a decent season. He doesn't need another championship in my eyes, right? He's good on rings.
He's won enough.
Yeah, but I would like to see him have a better season and then go off into the sunset.
Right.
That's just one man's opinion.
Who knows, man?
Who knows? It'll be interesting. It's a lot of fun, man. The NFL playoffs are fantastic. It's a great product. I love it.
Agree.
Love it.
Agree.
You got anything else, buddy?
Nah, man. That's it.
Man, we beat the hell out of this podcast. We started off.
Beat it up.
We started 2020 with a bang.
Whoa! Did that light just turn green on the mic?
Yeah, when you
Scream like
when
that?
you scream like that.
Oh! Whoa, that's pretty cool,
Yeah,
man.
stop screaming before
That's
you
pretty
blow
cool,
up
man.
the mic.
I like the red light.
Oh shit. No, this is not made out of glass. It's not gonna like explode.
This is when you're doing it. This is when you know you're doing it right. When you keep one eye open and one eye like, ooh. That's when you know you got the opera in you.
Yeah, you know. But for this podcast, I thought for sure you'd be an opera singer.
Really?
Oh yeah, when you grew up, when we were little, I thought when this kid grows up, he can't sing worth a lick now. You sure the hell can't dance, but I think
I can't whistle.
he's gonna be an opera singer.
One day in my next lifetime.
Hey, you still have time. You're young.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
young.
2020, make it your New Year's resolution to be an opera singer.
2020. What'd I give to be 20 years old again? Shit.
I don't think I'd want to be 20.
I wouldn't mind being. Why not?
Uh,
Don't say not old enough to drink because I'm sure you were scoring drinks at the age of 20.
Maybe.
And scoring.
Maybe. Yeah, but I was broke. I was in college.
You don't got no fucking bills. Who paid for your college?
That's
Who
true.
cares? You're living the
True, but
life.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You're living the life.
Come to think of it, I'd go back to 18
18?
so that I could do college again.
You're living the life.
Because you're right. That is the best part, right?
Right.
You have freedom because you're out of the house.
Right.
But you don't have any responsibilities because going to school is relatively easy. Plus, you get to do it with all your friends, right? No one's bossing you around. You just got
1,000 miles away from mom and dad.
Tests every now and then. And yeah, you're broke, but so is everybody else. So
That's
you
right.
make do.
Exactly.
Which is why.
Plus, if you meet a chick and she knows you're broke, expectations are low.
That's true. That's very true. If you
She's buying you drinks.
yeah, like if you get her a Happy Meal for your anniversary, right? Your 1 month anniversary, she's fucking ecstatic.
She's like, oh,
how nice! He even drew a little smiley face with the ketchup.
see, man.
He even drew a little heart over my French fries with the ketchup.
That's what we should do. We should go back to college.
I'd go back in a heartbeat. I lived those 4 years in a loop over and over again. It was such a good time.
That'd be awesome.
But it's not
It's
going to
not.
happen.
Reality is.
Instead, we've come to the end of another wonderful episode
Yes.
of the Positive Sports Podcast. Are you going to turn that damn phone off?
It is off.
Why is it buzzing?
I don't know, man.
Turn that POS off.
You buzzed your head, that's why.
It's the Buzz Show.
It's the Buzz Show.
If you want to get a hold of us, go ahead.
I was going to say, shout out to the St. John Red Storm for saving me $50.
In our bet.
Dude, I was cheering for them so hard.
I don't even know what was going on.
I've never followed a college basketball game so tight.
So you gotta let people in on the story. So
All right.
so we've got the three of us with Cousin Jay. We've got a deal going where we bet one game. We don't bet. We pick one game of college basketball against the spread
Every night.
for the entire month. So the first month we did it was December, and the winner gets $50
From each player.
from each player. I didn't know that.
from each player.
Oh, excellent.
Well, how are you going to get $50?
25 and 25.
No, from each player.
So that's $100.
It's $100, yes.
So the winner gets $100. Wow, I didn't.
Yes.
God damn, we're high rollers. I thought it was 25.
Well, we may need to revisit the I'm pretty
rules.
sure it was 50.
I thought the rule said winner gets $50,
Well,
which I assumed meant 25 from the two losers.
Well, I'm glad we settled this now because if I come up short when I win.
So anyway, it came down to the last game of the season,
Right.
the last game of the month, and
It came down between you and Cousin Jay. I was way behind.
you were out like on December 3rd.
If I would have made every opposite pick, I would have ran away with it.
Oh yeah.
And so it came down. You and Jay had 13, I believe.
Right.
13 wins. And so I was cheering for losses from both of you.
Right.
You lost your game earlier that day.
Right.
And then St. John's, I forget who they were playing. Butler. They were down, I think, double digits at halftime.
And Jay picked Butler minus
like 6. Yeah. And I think the
Johnnies
Butler,
came back.
The who? Oh, the St. John's came back and they lost by like 2. Great second half run and so it ended up being a tie between you and Jay.
Right, and we said no payout on the tie.
That's right. So,
although I think you should pony up 25 to each of us.
Bullshit. Nobody won.
No, nobody's
you
really sure what the rules are anyway. Apparently,
you want a participation trophy?
Yeah, for $25. Yeah.
So yeah, that's that.
Jeez.
All right,
crazy kids.
Close this bad boy out.
Alrighty, folks. If you want to get a hold of the show, share your thoughts with us about the NFL, the last decade, or whatever. We don't care. You can email the show, positivesports10@gmail.com. Positivesports10@gmail.com. If you want to help Alex out with his college basketball picks, how do they do that?
On Twitter at Brooklyn Gaucho 1. And you better help me out, because if you pick worse than what I'm picking,
you need not be picking.
I'm not picking you to pick my picks.
And if you want to get a hold of me, you can do so on Twitter as well, at eMontana21. Let me know how things are going. If you want to shout out and let me know about, or you want to reach out to me about my training, let me know. I am training for the Houston Marathon in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks away from another marathon. Trying to stay healthy at this point.
There'll be no football in 2 weeks.
Yeah, there will. Conference championships.
Oh.
So I'll run fast, pick up some wings and beer, come home and watch the conference championships.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
That sounds like the perfect afternoon.
Oh, it's a beautiful day. It'll be a beautiful day. Alrighty, and that wraps up this show. Catch us on YouTube, Podbean, Google Play, iTunes, whatever podcast platform you choose. If you want to watch, do it on YouTube. Check out my new haircut. I look just like Alex minus the hat.
I suggest watching.
Watching is funnier looking. For sure.
For sure.
And as always, folks, ignore the negativity. Be the positivity.
Peace.